Day number 5 of the 5-day listing challenge. My name is Dan Roshan. I help real estate agents have no broke months, and I am so freaking grateful that you are here today for day number 5, that you chose to join me today to be able to develop yourself. And as we get started, I do want to remind you that immediately after today's presentation, I've got a friend of mine, Matt Kushar, who's going to be coming in to present about how to leverage in your business, how to scale in your business, and how to be able to make more sales in less time. Matt is the owner of a company called Showami, and Showami makes that connection between buyers agents and showing agents, sort of like an Uber service, right? Where if you want to go on vacation, you want to get your property shown or get your buyers to take a look at homes, and you could go onto the Showami system and make that connection. And it's something I'm using in my business as well. So that's why I wanted to introduce you to Matt. So hang tight at 1 p.m. today for that presentation. So who's excited today? Who's excited? Who's excited? Who's excited? Are you excited? If you're not excited, get excited. Welcome, welcome, welcome. And if you don't have your video on, turn your video on. Why not? Let's turn that video on. Let's turn that video on. Let me take a few minutes to answer questions that you may have, and have a little bit of a conversation, and hear about your ahas. Excited. Shelly is excited. I hope you're not excited because we're parting ways. I hope you're just excited. And so I'd love to be able to answer your questions, be able to help you, be able to hear your feedback from today's presentation, or from this week's presentation rather. And again, I want to invite for you to turn your videos on. So who'd like to share first, or who has a question, anything real estate related, anything from this week? It's a pretty open discussion on day number 5. What you got?
I did the script, and I called friends and family also. And, I'm not done, because one woman is going up to New Hampshire because her aunt is dying. We had a lovely, we practiced the script. I asked her if she would practice it with me. Told her that it was a class assignment. And then we had a long conversation about her life and everything that's going on. And I texted her after. I said, if you hear of any property in New Hampshire that needs an agent, I can find a good person for you. Mm-hmm. So that was...
Dorothy, share with us what that script is, if you could, because not everybody was here this morning.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay.
You call past clients, and I included friends and family. Can you help me with a problem? You may realize that the real estate market has been challenging in the last 6 months, and I intend to hit my goals despite the challenges. Yet the challenges have been have set me back, and so I'm curious, who do you know that I should know who might be in the market to buy a home, sell a house, or invest in real estate? Somebody from your kid's school or church or work, or somebody you work with. Who comes to mind? Can you help me with this problem?
Fantastic. Thank you, Dorothy, for sharing that. And Dorothy got that script from this morning from our every morning we do our CPI baby steps. We do offer a free 1-week pass to that, which Dorothy is taking advantage of. And that's where she got that script from, and where she made that great connection. And I'm sorry for your friends. Did you say moms? You said somebody was passing away?
Her 98-year-old aunt.
Got it. Yeah. All right. Well, I'm sorry for that, but
I am too. And I didn't say, oh, great, I got a property in the conversation. I just expressed it, all the condolences and stuff.
Yeah.
And we talked about everything else. And then as an afterthought, I texted her, oh, by the way. And she said, sure thing.
Awesome. 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 Thank you, Dorothy, for sharing. Thank you for sharing that with everybody else. Who'd like to go next? What ahas, what questions, what comments do you have to share?
I have a question.
Who is that? Who is that?
Alberto.
Alberto, what you got, my man?
Hey, thanks. Well, I've been using the FISBO tactic, and I just got a couple of comments. Like one of them says, I can show you can come see the house, but you have to bring a buyer.
Mhm.
So I know that we have to go and try to, establish the relationship and make it work. But how am I gonna get in the door if I don't have a buyer at the moment?
What was the other? Was there another one besides that?
A lot of people are just saying like the compensation right away. I'm only gonna pay 2.5%.
Yeah.
And I think I mean, in certain cases, I'm just trying to like get to see the property and meet the person, because I think that's what you're telling us what we should do is the best that way.
Okay, Alberto, I'm going to answer your question, but before I do, I've got a couple questions for you.
Sure.
Do you believe that the experience the responses that you're getting from the for sale by owners, do you believe that they're unique? Meaning, if I was to send, you think that if I was to send text to for sale by owners today, do you think I would get similar type responses?
Yes, you should be able to get similar responses, right?
Okay, so then that would make it not unique. Would that be true?
Yes.
Okay, so the responses that you get they're not unique, correct? Do you believe that there are people using this system right now effectively and successfully? Was that a yes?
Yes.
Okay. Do you believe that those people that are using the system effectively and successfully, do you believe that they are also getting those same answers that you're getting and that I would get?
Yes.
Okay. Fantastic. So the reason why I wanted to start there is because I wanted to have a framework of, and this is for everybody, what Alberto is experiencing is what you will experience. Okay, so once you can have that understanding, then it will allow for you to then, because what that experience is, what I've noticed is with a lot of students, they let that experience mean something. And what they let that experience mean is this doesn't work. Yet, if you could say, well, the experience that you're having right now is the experience, and there's people that are going through this and they have success. The only difference between, I'm not suggesting you, Alberto, but between somebody who doesn't do it or doesn't get the success and does get the success is merely the fact that one does it and one doesn't. All right, so we have that as a foundation. Now let's go and answer your question. Stay on the script. 84% of the people they're not your people. They're not, right? So the majority of your people are not your people. 1 out of 7 will meet you. Okay, so if you just do the numbers, that means 6 out of 7 will give you exactly what you just described. And 1 out of 7 will say, yeah, sure, I'll meet you. Then of those 7 who you meet, 6 of them won't hire you and 1 will. Okay, so I'm not necessarily giving you anything to handle those objections. I'm just saying you're going to get shot down 6 out of 7 times. And if you want to list 50 homes a year, you simply have got to, send 7 texts a day, 7 texts tomorrow, 7 texts the next day.
I did want to mention one more thing, Dan.
Yeah, sure.
I just remembered I spoke to a lady as well yesterday, and she said that I can see the property, but she's not going to be there. So that kind of defeats the purpose.
It does defeat the purpose, but if you remember what the goal and the objective is, then the goal and the objective is to, and you're right. So the next step I would do with that is see if I get a video conversation with her. Right. So you got to figure, what's that?
I had a wonderful conversation with her, like 15-minute over the phone. And she wants me to help her find like a painter for inside her house. Yeah. But yeah, she said Saturday she's not going to be in the house. So I don't know if I should reschedule or like you just told me, that would be great. Maybe send her a video or do a video or FaceTime, like you said.
Yeah, a FaceTime. Say, hey, you know what? I'll take a look at the home. Would it make sense maybe on Monday we jump on a quick video call, because I'd love to be able to, meet you face to face and see if this may work for one of my buyers. I'm not sure if it does, if it will or if it won't, but I'd still love to be able to talk to you.
All right, sounds great.
Yeah. And so that's the approach, right? It's just about creating a relationship. Go back, stay on the script when they say, well, you can only come by if you have a buyer. It's just simply, well, I don't have a buyer with me. Can I take a look on Tuesday or Thursday? Right? Like, I'm not even going to pay attention to the objection. I'm just going to stay on script. Does that make sense to you, Alberta?
Yeah, it's very helpful. Thank you for answering my question, Dan.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. You're freaking amazing. Just keep it up. Johnny Root, what are you doing there smiling? Have you been here all week?
I have. I've just been shadowing you.
You been here all week?
No,
Oh, okay. All right.
I was just catching up.
Just catching up. Okay. All right. Well, welcome. Glad to see you. Who'd like to share next? Tell us about your experience.
I'll share.
Dixie.
I chose the for sale by owner route. I talked to 11 people in one day, and got 2 appointments set for tomorrow for it. So
There it is. There it is. Right. And those are relatively those are the numbers right there. Right. So you would think 14, you get 2. You're a little bit better. Yeah. I mean, sometimes it's better, sometimes it's worse. Freaking awesome, Dixie. Congratulations. Congratulations. Thank you for sharing your experience.
thank you for helping.
Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome. Now, guess what? Odds are those 2 are going to reject you. Odds are you're not going to list either one of those 2. Okay. We good with that? Is everyone clear on this? Because what the feedback
Yes.
consistently is, but Dan, I showed up and they weren't even there. Their sister was there. I showed up and they're like, do you have a buyer? Get out. Don't come in. Right? Like that. And that's going to happen 6 out of 7 times. Okay. But you do have a relatively good chance, Dixie, of getting hired by one of those 2, more than a chance that if you didn't have those 2 appointments. And also for clarity, when will you get hired? And I'm gonna make sure, I know I said this, but I want to make sure everyone gets this. 3 weeks from now.
3 weeks. That's what I remember.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. 3 weeks from now. Thank you for remembering that. You're not going to get hired tomorrow. It's happened. I've done it before on the first appointment. Okay. But it's rare. Don't expect it. 3 weeks from now. Make sense, Dixie?
It does. And I've done a for sale by owner before. I actually will be closing with them next week, but it took me a month to get hired, and it was
There it
a
is.
constant follow-up every week.
Yeah. See that? Do you see that? Do you see like the people that are doing it? Here are their numbers. They're not that far off. Like Dixie, what are you in Atlanta? Is that ATX? Is that what that is?
Oh, Austin, Texas.
Austin, Texas. Got it. Dixie's in Austin, Texas. Dan's in Northern Virginia. Dixie and Dan, we just met each other this week, right?
Yep.
Right? Like, how do I know that Dixie from Austin, Texas, that what her numbers are going to be of relatively 2 appointments out of 11 texts and 1 listing after a month of follow-up? That's pretty much what I'm saying. 1 out of 7 and 3 weeks later. You guys see that? Time and time again, these are the numbers.
Can I say something?
Yes, please go.
Just for other people that are trying the FSBO route too, the reason I got hired from this last FSBO that we're closing with is because every week I called him and asked him how the showings were going. And then I gave him some tip or something to help him.
Yeah.
And then when he went under contract, I continued to call him and say, have you checked with the lender on this? Have you gotten to this part of the contract yet? And then when the contract fell apart, he called me.
See that? That's the way this works. Dixie, you are a prime example of this system in play. So congratulations to you. Thank you, everybody, for sharing with me. Yes, and Shelly's giving an applause as well. I'm going to make a request from you guys right now, if you could. And I'm getting ready to move into the teaching, but I want you to do a little copy and paste action here, if you could. If I have provided you value this week, if you've gotten help, if this has been, worth the money that you invested for it, for the free class, right? I'm going to ask for you to post a testimonial about how I've helped you this week and how no broke months, the CPI systems have helped you as well. And the best way to be able to post a testimonial is to say, I had a problem or a goal. I took the 5-day listing challenge. It helped me solve this problem or achieve this goal. If you have that same problem or goal, you should take the 5-day listing challenge, or you should hire CPI coaching. I'm going to ask Les to put that into the chat. I'm going to ask you to copy and paste, and feel free to get distracted for 2 minutes to post that right now, or immediately after this class, post it at that time. Would you guys be willing to do that for me? Is that a big ask for me?
Do you want us to post it on CPI Community on Facebook?
She put the link in there to post it. Yeah, and thank you for asking, Dorothy. It's in there. Just click, paste, adjust it, right? Like adjust it to, she's giving you a template. Don't say the exact same words, but please do adjust it. All right, so couple things just to before I get into teaching today of who CPI is. We talked to you about the CPI certification. Congratulations to all of you who have joined us, who signed up for that certification. It's going to definitely make a difference in your lives. I do want to tell you about what the CPI community is. It'll take me just less than 2 minutes to tell you. And essentially, we're your eye in the sky. In the 1920s, the pilots in the first airplanes, they used to put these big bonfires across the land, and those big bonfires would guide the pilots to be able to fly. And so if you consider those bonfires as your guiding light, CPI is that guiding light. When you join the CPI community, you get me in your corner. If you're looking for somebody who has helped tens of thousands of transactions, more than 1,000 personally, that knows this business inside and out and has coached thousands of agents, I'm your guy. You get me in your corner when you join the CPI community. And if you just need a little bit of a kick in the butt, you'll get that in the CPI community as well, because sometimes we already know what to do. We know how to do it. We just don't do it. And that little bit of that kick in the butt is one that will allow for you to be able to get into action. So when you join the community, this is what the community members get. They get 7 trainings every single week. Every morning, Monday to Friday, we do a CPI baby steps. On Thursday and on Friday, we do a mastermind. So you'll be a part of one of those masterminds. For those that stay here at 1 o'clock, everybody here is invited to that as well, by the way. So if you're looking for somebody that's available, I got a question on a contract, I don't know how to put this together, I don't know how to put that together, join the community. You got 2 options to be able to join the community. Number one is you can invest in yourself. It's $649 a month. Number 2 is if you're not with EXP, you can join EXP and sign me up as your sponsor, and you're not paying another dime outside of that. If you're like, I don't want to join EXP, I love my broker, let's talk anyways. Even if you think I can help you, let's talk. Because even if you're not sure about the pathway for me to help you, if you want my help, I'm here for you. I want to help you. So are you adapting? And Leslie should put a link in there for you to get on my schedule if you could. For you to succeed, you have to understand that you do have to adapt. You have to realize that what worked in the past no longer works. Listen, even last November, the market shifted last November, 2022. What worked before November 2022 doesn't work today. We gotta find more business opportunities. We gotta help more people, because the business is harder, because there's so many people sitting on the sidelines right now. I'm estimating you got to find 3 or 4 times more people to help than you did 6 or 10 months ago. You have to understand that the business is adapted. And as the business continues to adapt, big data, artificial intelligence, commoditization, technology, the economy. These are all the things that have integrated into our marketplace today. So I want you to understand that you have to adapt to be able to succeed. A little summary about what we've learned these 5 days. On Monday, we talked about why did you get into real estate sales, or why are you in real estate sales today, rather, and what's important to you about that, and what's important to you about that. That developed your CPI compass, the compass, so that when you get distracted on the CPI time and the leverage time, and you want to do all kinds of other activities, you look back at, why am I a real estate agent? What's important to me about that? And then you made a choice. It's to keep you on track. On Tuesday, we looked at how will you find business. We looked at the options, and you chose your way for this week. And then you got into action for your way this week. Hopefully you did, because if you didn't, I respect you very much, yet you only get results by doing the activity. I hope that that's clear and easy to understand. I know it is, right? But sometimes we get a little bit, a little bit wonky with that. So if you still have not taken action, take action. This weekend, take action. Yeah, I know it's 4th of July. I get it. Guess what? I'm taking off 4th of July too, as well. But there's still an opportunity. I mean, if you're going on vacation, go enjoy yourself. But on Wednesday, when you come back, freaking, it's go time. If you're not going on vacation, it's go time now. Okay, like let's do this. Because if you're waiting, I talked to you about that the other day. If you're waiting, there is no perfect time. The perfect time is today. On Wednesday, we did a deep dive into finding your way to make sales. So we went through and we discovered that a little bit more. And we reviewed the framework of how to be able to get hired 85% of the time, even when you've never met the seller before. And we went through the framework of how do you go from an F off, Dan, to a 5-star review and an $18,500 paycheck, right? We went through that framework. And to remind you, again, if you're waiting to take action, if you're afraid to take action, if you're afraid that somebody's going to say, hey, F off, there's 48 people here right now. I promise you that of all of our 48, every one of you would say yes to this proposition, which is you stand here, 47 people here are going to, in your face, say F off, but they're not going to say F, they're actually going to say the word. And the last person is going to have a check for $18,500. Would you accept that proposition? Would anybody reject that? Anybody? So if we're afraid of failure, of being rejected, of ridicule, of what people are going to think of us, understand at the end of the day, and it's not about money. Money's a byproduct. Business is for profit. I do understand that. It's not always about money, but it is about the success. The money's a part of the success. And at the end of the day, 47 says F you. And then the last one's like, here's a big payday. Of course, you're going to say yes to that. On Thursday, we went through the scientific hack for you to be the best version of yourself. Because if you believe in yourself, and you know why, we discovered that on Monday, and you found your way to sales, we discovered that on Tuesday. So you believe in yourself, you know why you're doing this, you know what's important to you about that, and now you know how to do it. Okay, many of us may still be discovering that, right? We'll work on that through the certification, and those that join the community will work with you as well on that. But when you believe in yourself, you know why you're doing this, and you know how to do this, nothing can stop you. Nothing can stop you. And that's what we went through on Thursdays to help you to believe in yourself. Today, we're going to do a deep dive to help you understand how to connect with others. And we're going to review the tactics of the week, and we're going to discover 10 things that cost you zero money and zero talent. And then it will be around 1 o'clock, and Matt Kushar will be joining us at that point. So I want to share with you a quick video. Before I do so, has anybody here ever watched Wolf of Wall Street? Yeah, okay. This is the Wolf of Wall Street video, Wes? All right. So Wolf of Wall Street, the gentleman that movie was based off of, is going to speak to us next.
Hello, Mr. Belfort. Thank you so much for being here. I have one question, and I'm a huge fan of your film, so this just comes quite naturally. Can you please sell me this pen?
You know, no one's ever asked me that before. It's the first time. So let me tell you what that whole exercise really stands for, right? So the whole sell me this pen narrative is really, it's a test that you give to a salesman to see if they really understand what selling's all about. If you ask someone who's not a professional salesman, who doesn't have the right instincts, they'll start actually trying to sell you a pen. This pen is great. This pen writes upside down. It's the best value for its money. This pen will last forever. Here, buy this pen. Here's the thing. Only one rational thing you could do when someone says, sell me this pen, and that is to start asking them questions. So tell me, how long have you been in the market for a pen? What type of pens have you used in the past? Is it business or personal? Typically when you buy a pen, what type of money do you spend on one? Do you buy expensive pen? The key to selling is to find out, step one, what are your clients' needs, values? What pain are they looking to resolve? What do they need? And you're looking to fill that need at the utmost basic level, right? Well, when you just go out and try to sell something to someone, what you're saying is, I don't give a shit about you. I'm just going to ram this down your throat, right? I want to know what you need. I want to know what you've done in the past. So you ask questions. If I ask someone, hey, so how long have you been in the market for a pen? They say, oh, I'm not looking for a pen. Great, have a nice day. I don't sell people to things that people aren't looking for. I wouldn't try to sell you a pen if you're not looking to buy a pen. So and if someone said to me, I say, wow, this person really knows how to sell. Because the biggest mistake that rookie salesmen make is they try to sell to everybody versus weeding out people who are not interested and only selling to those who are. So I ask questions, but not any question. I ask pointed questions to identify what type of pens you've used in the past, how much money you have. Now, the pen is like a euphemism for any product, right? By doing that, I can get a good sense of what you're about. And then when I'm done asking my questions and I know what I need to know, I'll say, well, based on what you said to me, this pen is a perfect fit. You let me tell you why. And now I'm actually matching my pen to what you need, and I tailor my presentation to fill that need, and it's much more elegant. Make sense?
Yes,
Okay,
thank
great.
you.
All right. Thank you for sharing that. And there's a couple questions that people ask me on the private chat. I'll get to those here in a few minutes. But thank you for asking your questions. So let's talk about asking questions. Let's talk about using questions as an opportunity to be able to guide somebody. Okay, and that's what the CPI communication model does. And so before I share with you the steps of asking a question, the first thing that we want to do is we want to connect with somebody instantaneously. And so I want to ask you, who here has heard the word rapport? We've probably have all heard of that word. Okay. And I'm curious, what does the word rapport, what does that mean? Who has an answer for that? What is rapport?
Building relationship.
Building relationship?
Being in tune with somebody. on
Being
an
in tune with
unconscious
somebody?
level.
I don't know.
Connecting with them so that they know, like, and trust you.
Connecting with someone through your similarities.
Connecting with them so they know, like, and trust you. Connecting with them through your similarities. What else?
Gaining confidence in which the person can speak about personal matters openly.
Gaining confidence to speak about personal matters openly. Thank you. Who else?
Trust.
Trust, love it. Who else? All right. Here's what I want. Go ahead.
They like me.
They like me. They really like me. They like me. I don't know. That just felt like fun to do that. So let's break rapport down into like 3 segments. So there's rapport. I'm going to describe to you what rapport is. And then there's how do you get into rapport. I'm going to describe to you how you get into rapport. And then there is, I guess there's 4 sections. And then there's what's the result of rapport. And then there is how do you know when you're in rapport. Okay. So let's take these. Let's take these into 4 buckets, right? So how do you get into rapport? What is rapport? What's the result of rapport? And how do you know when you're in rapport? So the result of the rapport. So most of the answers that I just heard were either rapport or the result of rapport, but we want to dig a little bit deeper on the rapport. So I heard a lot of you use the word connection. That is rapport. I also heard some of you say things like trust, those types of things. Like and trust is the outcome of rapport. Okay, so rapport is a connectivity, and when you're in rapport, that's when you get the trust. That's when you get the people to follow you. That's when you get ease in your life. Does that make sense to everybody? Friendships. That comes as a result of being in rapport. All right, so now what is rapport? Rapport is a connectivity. Okay. What is a connection of? That's a question for you. What is a connection of? What is rapport a connection of?
Emotions, thoughts.
Emotions, thoughts. Okay, I like that a lot. What else?
Something in common?
Something in common. Something in common is going to be over here, which is how do you gain rapport? Okay, so we're like, I'm really like, I know I'm being nuanced in this because this is one of those concepts you really have to sort of break it down. So something in common is one of the things to get us in rapport. Well, let's go back to what is rapport a connection of?
Mind, body, soul.
Mind, body, soul. Let's roll with that.
Emotions.
Let's roll with that. Mind, body, soul, emotions, I would say are all accurate, but there's a word that can embody mind, body, soul, emotions, which is energy. Okay, because the love, the soul, that is all energy. So when you consider this, when you consider we are spiritual beings manifested in a human condition. We don't often consider that. When you look at the instructor, Dan, hey, there's Dan. And you're looking at this physical, body. It's literally a body. You're looking at this physicalness and you're saying, that's Dan, which is true, yet it's not complete by any sense of the imagination. Who this being right here is, and who your being is, it is a spirit of energy that's encompassed in this warehouse right here. So now we understand you're a spirit, I'm a spirit. That's not complete, but it's what we're looking at right now. And you're looking at rapport, and you're looking at connection. Rapport is the connectivity of my spirit or your spirit in another person's spirit. It's the connection of that energy. I had learned this concept deeply once in a hypnosis class. and we had a house guest staying the night at my house the night of the hypnosis class. And I'm standing upstairs there. Can't really see my legs, but I'm talking to our house guest. And as I'm talking to our house guest, I'm really paying attention to the energy. And at some point, I moved my body like this. And she moved her body like this. At some point, I crossed my legs and she crossed her legs, standing up. And I was so amazed, like, that I was in such a deep, energetic connection. I was able to move her body just by paying attention to the energy. And just by being connected at the end. That is a deep, deep, deep level of rapport to be able to do that. But you can. So now that you understand what rapport is that connection of energy. Okay. And we talked about, like, what's the result of rapport? It's liking each other. It's it's being, in a place where we can appreciate each other. Then, and I'll get back to how you create rapport here in a second. How do you know when you're in rapport? So the question is, how do you know when you're in rapport?
You feel it.
You feel it, which in of itself helps you to gain rapport. Okay. So if you ever consider when you really, really felt connected to somebody, another human being, and you really felt like you were in sync with them, you had a physical feeling at that moment. So now that you understand how you know if you're in rapport, that in of itself helps you to gain rapport. Because the number one thing, and I'll give you some hacks here, but the number one thing, absent the hacks, to be able to gain rapport is to pay attention to your feelings and pay attention to the other person and pay attention to the feelings between you. Because when you're focused on those feelings, you can open up an awareness to them. And when you open up an awareness to them, you access the connectivity between your spirit and mine, or your spirit and another's. I know I'm going a little deep on you guys here today. That's why I saved this for day 5.
Love it.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So now here's some hacks. Before I move on with the hacks, we all good? We all good? All right, cool. So here's some hacks. So when I'm teaching inside sales agents specifically, and the real estate agents as well, but when I'm teaching inside sales agents specifically, when we're making phone calls, cold calls, for example, I suggest to them to not worry about making the appointment. Instead, I suggest to them to play the rapport game. So what is the rapport game? The rapport game is as follows. It doesn't matter what the outcome of the conversation is. You win when you create rapport with the other human being. Now, you want to really, really develop your ability to gain rapport quickly. Cold call for a couple weeks and play this game. Because it's hard to do when you don't see the person, when they're pissed off that you called, when you're annoying them in their day. It takes a skill set to be able to create it so that you're connecting with them energetically. Yet, when you do so, you're able to create more, I would say more better. That's not proper grammar. You're able to create better outcomes. Excuse me. My friend Fraser, he used to be a high school English teacher. He always beats me up when I screw up my language. So he would beat me up. I'm more better right now. So anyway, so ways that you could create rapport instantly. Let's go back to that phone call. Well, how could you instantly connect it? Pay attention to them and repeat back the words that they're saying, the way that they're saying it, the inflection, the tonality, the voice. If they answer the call and they're like, hello, hello, you repeat that back to them in the same pattern that they're doing. If they say, hello, you say, hello. And then you repeat back their last couple words to them. You guys may, here's the thing. You probably, now that I'm going to say this, you'll probably for the rest of today notice that I do this. When you're speaking to me, and I don't do this on purpose, I do this because this is my language. When I start talking back to you, odds are, I'd bet you $10 that every single time that I start talking back to you using the last 2 or 3 words of the sentence that you just said. Okay, and I bet you if anybody is watching this in replay, go back and watch the day before where I'm talking to somebody, see if I did it. Okay, and again, I don't do it on purpose, but I do it because I've trained myself to be able to pay attention to people. I've trained myself to be able to be connected spiritually. And a way to do that is to actively listen. I will talk about that here in a second. So those are some hacks to be able to get into rapport quickly. That's what rapport is. That's the benefit of rapport, and that's how you know when you're in rapport. Is everybody good with me? We all good? We all good? We all good? Okay. Now, Belford, the gentleman that would just sell me this pen, and he said, ask questions. Skilled salespeople do not sell. Skilled salespeople ask questions. Sell me this pen. Well, I'm curious. What do you need a pen for? And you start asking questions. In a conversation, when you put this all together, the CPI communication model, you should be asking adept questions about 15% of the time. Okay? You should be listening about 80% of the time, and you should be consulting about 5% of the time. That's the way you sell. When somebody gives you an objection, and you'll learn this in the certification, 1-2 punch. You hand me an objection. It's a little bit more than this, but I'm going to put that objection back. I'm going to handle it. And then what am I going to do next? I'm going to ask a question because I'm going to take control back. Okay. Anytime somebody gets you off your game, do the following. Say a sentence, ask a question. That's it. You'll get back on your game. I guarantee it. So the CPI communication model, build rapport, ask adept questions. An adept question is a question designed to be able to guide somebody to a predetermined outcome that they benefit from achieving. And then actively listen. Now, I told you some little hacks of how you can demonstrate active listening. It's, part of my communication style of like repeating back the last 2 or 3 words of what they say. But when you're actively listening, I'm curious, what does that mean? What are you listening to? What are you listening for? What do you guys think? Active listening. What are you listening for? What are you listening to? What do you guys got?
You're listening to their tone of voice. You're watching their body language.
Okay.
And you're listening to them to tell you about themselves.
Okay. I love all that, Anita. And that is all correct. There's something different that gets you there, though. Go ahead, Julie.
You're listening to whatever problems or situation they have so that you know how to answer them or solve those problems for them.
I agree with that as well.
You're trying to find their pain.
I agree with that as well. How about this? What is rapport? Answer that. What's rapport, guys?
Connection.
A connection of what?
Energy.
Connection of energy.
Spirit.
In spirit. What do you actively listen to and for?
Ways to connect.
What is rapport?
Connectivity.
A connection. A connection of what?
Energy.
energy, and spirit. What do you listen for and to?
Ways to connect to their energy and spirit.
Oh, so close. You listen to and you listen for the energy and the spirit.
Energy and the spirit.
Okay. That is active listening. Communication is 7% words, 93% energy, body language, that type of thing. Active listening is actively listening to the energy. Has anybody ever had a buyer couple and you went to the buyer couple, you says, are you ready to write an offer that gets accepted? And the one says, yes. And the other says, yeah. Did you just get 2 yeses? Verbally, yes. Energetically, no. If you don't handle that in real time, what are the odds that something's going to blow up in the transaction? And then you're going to go to your broker, or your mentor, or your coach, and you're going to say, hey, these idiots, they did this, da, 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 what do I do now? Right? Like, this is the predictable outcomes. All right. And yes, we can handle that reactively. Yet what I'm teaching you today is to avoid it proactively by improving your communication skills. Make sense, everybody? All right. Fantastic. So let's go back and let's review the, the tactics of the week, the 3 tactics that we've done. The for sale by owner tactic. Before I do this, I want to answer 2 questions. Number 1, Bert, I can help you with your test. I've got a send me a message on Facebook. Find me on Facebook, send me a message, and I can help you pass that test because I've taught real estate licensing class for 8 years. The person who asked me about sharing, you can't tie in to say I'm going to give you something for choosing me as your sponsor. Be very, very clear of what I'm offering to share with you. I'm offering to help you. And if anybody has a challenge with me offering for me to help you in exchange for considering to name me as a sponsor, then I'm happy to have a one-on-one conversation with you. It's fine. But I am absolutely comfortable with saying that I want to help you. So let's go into the 3 tactics of the week. Your way, for sale by owner. You get hired at a lower rate. We went through that earlier today when we went through the, the first 15 minutes. And to remind you of how you use the for sale by owner tactics. Step number 1 is you send them a text. Is 123 Main Street still available? Great. Would you, if I brought you in a buyer, would you pay X% compensation or X% finder's fee? Great. Can I take a look at it Friday or Saturday? Great. When you go there, you give them the for sale by owner help kit. Hey, Mr. For sale by owner, I respect you very much in the investment of your time, and I'm not going to come here like my competitors and beg you for your business. Instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to help you sell this on your own. And why would I help you sell this on your own? Because at some point you may consider to need an agent or consider to hire an agent. If that's the case, I'd like the opportunity to apply for the job. That's the briefest summary that I can give you about the for sale by owner, the easy way. The Facebook lead generator system. The Facebook lead generator system. 1 out of 100 will hire you. That will go. Well, the more than that will hire you, but 1 out of 100 will go to closing within 90 days or less. So essentially, what you're doing is you're posting an ad on Facebook. You're advertising a property or you're advertising a list, you're getting somebody's name and number, you're giving them a call, and 1 out of 100 will end up doing a transaction in the next 90 days. 4 out of 100 will end up doing a transaction in the next 18 months. The open house. Treat the open house like you would an event. Treat it like you would a party. Go knock on the neighbors' doors. You're there to be able. My daughter. I don't know. I don't think I said this to you guys. My daughter, maybe I did. I'm not sure. I said it to somebody, but I'll say it again. My daughter said to one of our friends about the open house that I did last week. The friend said, "Hey, how'd the open house go?" And my daughter said, "Oh, well, it wasn't so good. That, there was just one of the neighbors came and talked to my daddy. He wanted to sell his house, and they talked for like 45 minutes. I don't think it was any good at all." Someone's got to tell my daughter what I do for a living. Okay. Right. So the open house system, you treat the open house like you would like a party, an event. You're going to do a Facebook Live when you're there. You're going to knock on the neighbors' doors when you're there. You're going to invite your friends. You're going to invite your past clients. You're going to treat it like you're hosting a party, because when you treat it like you're hosting a party, you'll do a couple things. One is you'll get validity. You'll get other people seeing you in action. Okay, get it on your social media. Show people. I posted something on my Facebook the other day at the open house, and there was like 90 people said, "Hey, I like that." All right, so if 90 people say, "Hey, I like that," that means there's probably 300 or 500 that saw it. That's 300 or 500 free advertising right there. Cost me nothing, right? Nothing. That's what you want to do with your open houses. In fact, Les, can you find that post and maybe put a picture of it somewhere? Put a picture of it in the chats if you can find it, please. It's really simple. And then the last of the okay, so that's the last of the strategies. And then we want to make sure that you're finding your way. Okay, so as you go through business, we talked about finding your why. We talked about finding your way, and we talked about believing in yourself. So the way for you to have success in sales is simple. Just simply find your way. Because when you find your way, look at that beautiful little photograph right there. When you find your way and you're comfortable with the way that you do it, then you're able to then have more success. I had, once upon a time, I was an operating partner of a Keller Williams Realty franchise. And I sat in this room, and that's the guy that's in charge of the vision and the money and the whatever, and making sure that the business is successful. And so we're in a room with a bunch of team leaders. The team leaders is essentially the CEO of the business. If you've ever been with a KW, if you are with a KW, you probably know who the team leader is. You may or may not know who the operating partner is. The operating partner is the one that's behind the scenes. They're really the ones that are responsible. And we're in this room of team leaders and operating partners. And one of the team leaders says, "I don't want to call agents." And I looked across to her. I said, "Well, then don't." And I think that her operating partner almost hit me at that moment. And so I had to backtrack a little bit. I was like, wait a second. I'm not saying you don't have to do the work. I'm just saying if you don't want to cold call, don't. You got to do something. Okay? But if you're not into cold calling, then don't freaking cold call. But you got to do something. So we want to make sure that you are finding your way. I want to share with you a couple videos from students in the that are in the CPI community. And then I'm going to share with you 10 things that cost you zero money and zero talent. And then we'll introduce you to Matt Kushar. And I'll use the restroom at some point here in the near future. In fact, I'll be right back while we play you this video. Was that too personal? Sorry.
I'm a fairly new realtor. I've been in the business for about four months.
I'm a realtor, but I'm also a wholesaler.
I think the one thing that's missing from my business,
I'm not really very consistent.
Organization of time.
That's right. Consistency is what I'm really looking at. I'm a one-man show.
Have I been consistent with my prospecting? Absolutely not.
I was lost because I was trying many things.
I'm selling real estate right now because I have.
It's hard, and I've spent a lot of years going 2 steps forward.
There are a lot of things that could have done differently.
5 steps backwards, and
there was no direction, what to adopt and what to leave, and
I'm intimidated not being able to speak the language.
Where to start and where to go.
2 weeks ago when I took your 5-day challenge, you say just pick up the phone and just...
The 3 strategies that Dan taught, my favorite one was picking up the phone or texting for sale by owners.
I am at that point of, I know when I focus on this and hire you as my mentor, I'm going to go big and just leave my regular job.
Found my way, and in my first consultation, Dan discovered where my strengths are. So him and I together, we realized it, and mine is video.
I think the one goal it was to focus in on just one thing. Like Doug decided that he wanted to do the for sale by owners program, and I was doing the Facebook part of it.
In the 5-day challenge, I really learned that there's a simpler pathway to consistency.
And so what after he talked about 2 weeks ago, I actually just went and got 3 listings.
By doing so, I had been making video consistently for a year. Since the program, I've doubled my income, and most of it, hey, hold your socks here, have been in my boxers.
I've been with Dan since 2015, but there, like what JJ says, the timing wasn't right. I had to put my efforts and my mind and all my energy into fixing my home, and a lot of stuff that are really serious, and that has passed. But the thing with me was I never gave up with real estate, even though I had to do it part-time. I knew in my heart this is the place where I'm at, so I never gave up. But I'm getting ready to go full-time.
In March, who that last young lady who said I'm getting ready to go full-time is full-time, and she's having a lot of success in the business. I think you may have heard from her this week as well. I know that she had joined us there for a second, but March. Oh, for those on Thursday, she was there on Thursday on the transition, and she was sharing about her experience. So if you're still looking for a guide, if you're still looking for somebody to be able to help you, I want to invite for you to set up an appointment with me, and I'd love to be able to talk about how I can help you. And I want to leave you today with 10 things that require zero money, zero talent, and then we'll introduce you to Matt Kushar from Shawame. And so if you're looking to know how to leverage and scale your business, hang tight, because I got a very special presentation for you. 10 things that require zero talent, zero money. Be on time. You have the ability to choose to be on time. Work ethic. You have the ability to choose when you're working, how much effort will you put into it? Doesn't mean you have to work 24/7. It just means that when you're working, work. You have the choice to be able to be in control of your passion, because the person with the most passion is always going to win. You have the choice, the ability with no money, no talent to do extra and to be prepared. And you have the ability to have control over your attitude. Does that mean that every single day is going to be the best day of your life? Well, I'm going to invite for you to choose to do so. Yet, maybe not. You are ultimately in control of your attitude, and you're in control also of your body language. You could take a powerful pose, and you can also take a bad pose, something that's like defeated, and like you're in charge of that. You're in charge of your effort, you're in charge of your energy, and you're in charge to be coachable. So with that, I want to congratulate you. If I had confetti, I would throw it down right now. Woo! Right? And I want to congratulate you for graduating in the 5-day listing challenge. And I want to acknowledge every single one of you. You are freaking amazing. The fact that you're here right now demonstrates to me that you are amazing. I want to let you know that you are special. You are somebody who you are worthy. And please listen to those words. Please listen to those words. The fact that you're here right now demonstrates that. So hang tight. I'm going to officially end this presentation, and we're going to hand it off to Mr. Kushar. But as I hand it off, I'm going to invite for you to have the best day of your life. Be grateful, make good choices, go help someone, and go find a listing. Congratulations, guys. You guys are amazing.